Welcome into the Fantasy Football Fools podcast. My name's Jesse. This is Eliseo and Brandon. How you guys doing?
You're a fool.
I'm ready for football. 2 days away.
Can't wait. Week 1 right around the corner. Well, 1 day away when this is released, but 2 days we're recording. Actually, we're recording this way early, but that's all right. All right.
Football
today,
is close, is what
It
we're
is
trying to
close.
say.
It's
Football is
still
just around the
preseason.
corner.
It's still preseason right now, but it's close. It is close. All right. Today, what we got for you? We got the rankings. We're going to give you our individual rankings in the main positions: quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, and running back. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple of the week 1 matchups and give you our balls to the wall player.
And we're back with the balls to the wall.
The guy who's going to go out, show out for week number 1. Let's get into it. You going to start us off, Eliseo, with our quarterback rankings?
Okay, I will, but I got to warn you that this specific ranking that I've done is the ranking to go off for everyone in the entire world.
I was just going to say, too, you said our quarterback rankings.
That's true, yeah.
I don't want to be
I said, did I
a
say
part
our?
of his
I said-
rankings.
oh,
I did.
Yeah, you said.
He said
oh,
our,
he
like
said.
Yeah.
collectively we put these together.
No,
I want that to be
No,
known.
no. This
I
is
am
gonna
not
all this
associated with
credit
his
is going to be all
rankings.
me. This credit is going all towards me.
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about. Over
Here's
there.
the thing. You're going to give us your rankings, and we're going to chime in and,
Oh, well,
tell you
well,
where they are on our list.
These are the rankings for the year. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
All right, let's
get started.
kick it off.
All right, kicking it off. Should I go 10 to 1? 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10. All right. Number 1, surprise, surprise, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I
Of course.
think
I'm
everyone's kind of on the
100%
same
so far.
page.
I'm betting 1,000 right now. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I
Yeah.
have Justin Herbert, but
I have no. Okay, well, let me just rattle them off, and then we'll go from there. I got Josh Allen number 1, Patrick Mahomes number 2, Justin Herbert number 3,
well, yeah.
Kyler Murray number 4, Big Bad Tom Brady number 5,
All right.
Matthew Stafford number 6, Russell Wilson number 7, Lamar Jackson number 8, Derek Carr number 9, breaking the top 10,
Oh wow.
and to round off the top 10, Joe Burrow.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you with Josh Allen. I have Herbert as number 2, but I'm kind of down on Mahomes. This year. He is my number 6. Can you believe it? Mahomes is number 6 this year.
I have him at 3.
Yeah, I mean that's probably where he's
I
gonna
mean,
end up.
Jesse has the Cowboys ranked as a top 5 team, so
I have Lamar at number 3. I'm pretty high on Lamar. I think he has the potential to even be number 1. Kyler
with
Murray,
all those
number 4.
receivers down in Baltimore.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. He's gonna have every rushing touchdown there is. It's Lamar, and then Kyler and Jalen Hurts before Mahomes. But Brady's in my top 10, just like you. I have Russell Wilson in my top 10 instead of Derek Carr. I hope it's Derek Carr, but I couldn't put him there.
Yeah, I kind of broke mine down into tiers. I had Allen and Herbert as kind of the clear tier. I really like both of those guys ahead of anybody else. I had Mahomes at 3, Lamar at 4. I think similar to you, Jesse. Kyler Murray at 5. I think we're kind of all in agreement in that range there. I had Jalen Hurts at 6. I also like him, kind of huge rushing upside. And then I rounded out with Brady, Joe Burrow. I have Russell Wilson also at 9. Then I have Dak at number 10. So
I also have Dak at number 10.
I have Dak at 13. You missed it. You know who? Right at 11 is Matt Ryan. Is where I got him.
Oh wow!
wow,
Okay.
Matt
Yeah,
Ryan, I
I
have
know,
at
that's the-
21.
I don't.
That's
even,
that's
I
the
have
big
to look.
one.
He's down there.
That's the big
He's
one
about
that
21 for
I
me.
know where we were doing the top 10, but I wanted to throw that out there because I knew that's very against pretty much anybody else. But as I told you guys, these are the rankings.
He's number 20 for me.
These are the rankings. He's gonna have a huge year, guys. Like he's gonna have like a comeback year. Week 1, he's going against Texas. He's gonna get out there and show off, confidently knowing that he's not gonna get blown out like he has been in Atlanta the last few years.
And then here's a name I don't think we talked about at all. Aaron Rodgers. Where do you have him? Just out of curiosity. The 2-time MVP.
Number 14.
Okay, yeah. I think I
got
had
him
him
at
at 12.
13. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we're at. And again, I think that kind of speaks to the depth of the position. If you came out of your draft with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, you're not feeling bad. And if he's the 12th guy taken in a 12-team league, you're the last guy to take it. The rest of your roster is pretty well stocked. So I think it's very deep at quarterback. And again, it kind of comes down to personal preference, as you see with our various rankings here.
What do you guys have just ahead of Aaron Rodgers?
Matthew Stafford.
Stafford, yeah. I think you had him at 6.
I have him at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you at all concerned about the elbow?
I think he's gonna be okay. I mean,
Just
if
shoot him
he's
up, cortisone.
if he's
or
not okay, then
whatever
obviously
the-
these. If he's not okay, then obviously these rankings are going to change significantly. But for right now, I think if all's well, then I still think he's still one of the top guys.
What about Trey Lance?
I'm not very high on him at all. That he's a like tier 3 guy for me. I have no confidence in him.
I have him at 15, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him either.
I have him at 16. Yeah, similar. I kind of want to see it before
I have him at 17.
I believe in it. But here's one thing I kind of noticed. Are you down on rushing quarterbacks? I noticed you had kind of Jalen Hurts lower, Lamar Jackson a little lower. You don't like Trey Lance.
It's not that I'm like down per se on them. It's just that like it's a passing league, you know. There's been too much, like just a lot of and I have Kyler Murray up there. He's in my number 4, and he's a runner, and that's why he's my number 4 is because he's a runner and like he's got some pretty good weapons. But I feel like okay, like I think I talked about this before. Russell Wilson is good, but he I don't know, man. I don't know. I think people are overrating Denver as a whole with him there. It does improve the team, you know, but I think he's going to be overrated. I think he's obviously in my top 10, but I think he's not one of like the tier 1 elite guys.
I think he has potential.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
It's Russell Wilson, so he always has potential to be, top 5, top 3. But yeah, since we're down on him and he's number 9 for me, I mean that kind of shows.
He's 7 for me, and right next to him, like at 8 is Lamar Jackson. So I have like Murray at 4, and then Russ 7, Lamar 8.
And I think the great thing about Josh Allen is that he is that passing and running quarterback. The rest of them haven't really shown the passing game as much as the running yet.
And also, it also has to do with like I said, like the teams. Like Buffalo is obviously like a powerful offense. So is Kansas City, even with the stuff that they've lost. And Mahomes can run a little bit too, you know. So like he's still in a great offense. Justin Herbert, that offense is gonna score. Obviously, Kyler Murray is just an elite quarterback. I think he's really accurate and he can run. Tom Brady and Matt Stafford, well, they did it last year, and their teams are still really good. So I don't see them dropping out very far. So it's like I don't have any problem with like running quarterbacks, but it's like who on this like my top 6? I don't know who I want to replace because Matt Stafford is going to throw a lot of touchdowns again. Of course, we know about the elbow thing, but if he's healthy, he's still going to be like. He still has Cooper Kupp. He's still going to be doing the same thing. Tom Brady, same thing. These guys aren't like showing like they're slowing down. So it's really hard to replace on my top list.
And I mean, hopefully Stafford doesn't throw as many interceptions as last year because he led the league in interceptions. So
and even then, he was like,
yeah, he was good. Yeah,
he was still a top 5 quarterback last year.
Here's the thing, yeah, he threw 17 interceptions last year that led the league, but our top 2 guys, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, they threw 15, so not too far behind. Sometimes when you throw as much as these guys are doing and so much passing league now, yeah, you just gunslingers and turnovers.
So it's like it's at the point where like the passing quarterbacks are scoring just as much as the running quarterbacks because of how much they're throwing, you know?
All right, those are our top 10 quarterbacks. We're going to go
into a little extra.
Yeah, a little extra there for you. We're going to go into let's do running backs. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go over my running backs, and you guys can chime in to see if you agree or not. I'll do the first. You want me to do all of them?
Yeah, let's go through all of them, and then I think we can kind of pick it apart from there.
So number 1, I got Jonathan Taylor. I think most people have that. Christian McCaffrey at number 2. Austin Eckler at number 3. I did this as a half PPR league, so otherwise I would have number 4, Derrick Henry above Eckler. Number 5, Joe Mixon. Number 6, Najee Harris. 7, Dalvin Cook. 8, Alvin Kamara. 9, Leonard Fournette. 10, Zeke. 11, Aaron Jones. 12, DeAndre Swift. 13, James Conner. 14, Nick Chubb. We'll go to 15? Saquon Barkley. You want to go to 20?
Go to 20.
All right. 16, Javonte Williams. 17, David Montgomery. 18, Elijah Mitchell. 19, Cam Akers. And rounding out the top 20, Josh Jacobs. Those are my top 20.
Wow.
So we can kind of break it down. So Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry. That's got to be similar, maybe a different order for you guys.
Those are 4 of my top 5. Yeah, I have Taylor, McCaffrey, Eckler, Cook, Henry. So right in the same ballpark.
I have Taylor, McCaffrey, Henry, Eckler, Cook.
And I think since I made this, I'm a little bit higher on Cook. But Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, Kamara. I think they're all going to be great.
That's the top 7 are all the same guy, or top 8 to Alvin Kamara. We have the same guys, slightly different order, but no arguments with any of those guys.
I think I'm definitely higher on Aaron Jones than you are.
Yeah, well, I have a Fournette, and this is maybe why I'm down on Brady as much, because I think Fournette's going to get a lot of the work. So Fournette is a little bit higher. Zeke, I know people are down on Zeke. They hate him.
Way down on Zeke.
But I don't know. Zeke has been consistent. He's not going to give you that same rookie season that he had or the year after whenever he had the big season, but he's going to be fine, I think.
Number 16 for me.
So Zeke was the one guy that jumped out. Yeah, you have him at 10. I have him at 17. So similar
16.
to you, Eliseo. Yeah, and again, that's kind of personal preference. I'm not down on Zeke. I think league average people have gotten down on him. I'm not that far down on him. I think I just like other guys more, and I'm worried about the work that Tony Pollard's going to kind of cut into.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. There's one thing about the Cowboys that they keep feeding Zeke. But again, I think he's kind of on the downside. He's gotten so much work the last several years, and that stuff adds up at a certain point, and you kind of lose some of the explosiveness. So I'm just a little bit down on him. So 10's a little high for me.
I think I like the offense too. I mean, DeAndre Swift is going to be great, but he's on Detroit.
That's why he's not as high on my list as he is on yours, because he did good at the end of the year there, and he is going to get a lot of action. But like you said, it's Detroit, so.
So I actually I probably the highest on him out of all of you guys. I actually have him at running back 9. I actually really like him in Detroit. Great offensive line. He was the running back 3 before he got hurt last year. In I think half or full PPR scoring. Again, he catches a ton of passes. So I actually really like the way that team is going. Again, we say, oh, it's Detroit, and they haven't been good in a while, but I think they're on the right path. Again, great offensive line and improving offense around him. I actually really like DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, he's my 13. You said number 9 for you?
I have him in my top 10.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got? Aaron Jones. I know you like Aaron Jones a lot. I think we're similar.
He's my number 8.
What about Saquon Barkley? Where are you guys on Saquon?
So similar. I had him at 14. I think you have him at 15.
Okay.
I have him at 14 also.
Yeah, he intrigues me. Again, it's the Giants. You never really know, but they brought over the coach from the Bills, Brian Dabble, who's the offensive coordinator. And they look pretty good in the preseason so far. Just Barkley has all the talent in the world. We've seen him do it before he got hurt. Absolutely incredible. And I think with anybody that can kind of bring his talent back out, it's going to be.
And you know what? A lot of people are afraid because of the injuries, but like last year's injury wasn't as, like people say, oh, he's injury prone, but last year he just stepped back and stepped on another player,
rolled an ankle.
He rolled an ankle stepping on somebody's foot, and so it's not like he is like.
I feel like if you're a running back, you're injury prone. I mean,
this was one of those things that shouldn't happen. It's not like he, it's like, oh, he barely gets hit or barely touched and then he gets hurt. No, it was like this was just like a fluke, like you said. So
I would be very surprised if one of the running backs that went in the top 2 rounds does not get hurt this season. So it's just a risk you take.
I think the other guy that I've seen kind of a wide range of rankings on is Javonte Williams in Denver. Some people are super high on him, top 10. I've seen him in the 20s. Again, we kind of have him in the middle. I have him at 13. You have him at 16.
I have him at 15.
15, right. So we're kind of right around that same area. He's a guy that if Melvin Gordon didn't re-sign there, I think I have him in my top 8, maybe that high. I think he showed a ton of talent last year. They split the carries evenly in Denver. That offense is going to be much better. Again, you hate the workload that Melvin Gordon's taking from him, but if he was not there, Javonte Williams, easy top 8 running back for me.
Do you feel about the same way the other way around? If he gets hurt, was Melvin Gordon going to be a top 10?
I don't think he has as much talent. He's a little bit older. I think Melvin Gordon's 29. That's kind of when you start to see running backs decline. I think certainly anytime you take one of two guys out of an equation, the one guy is certainly going to perform better. But if you told me they were each independent of the other one, I'd rather have Javonte Williams. But yeah, Melvin Gordon certainly could be a top 15 running back if he has that entire job to himself on a good offense.
And I mean, I'm last year I had Melvin Gordon. I drafted him mid-season because I thought it was going to be Javonte, and so I guess I'm coming into this season with the same kind of reasoning. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, if Melvin Gordon's, there the whole season and they want to utilize that money that they paid him, then yeah, he may not be as high. But if he does take over, then I think he's going to be great.
So I'm curious, where do you guys have Dobbins?
Dobbins is my 21 actually, just right.
I have him at 18.
I have him at 19.
Yeah, I really like Dobbins. He was hurt all year last year. I think torn ACL or something in the preseason. He's a guy that I think Baltimore, you got to remember their offense from 2 years ago, not necessarily last year. Last year he got hurt. Gus Edwards got hurt. All their running backs were hurt, so they
Lamar
had to change the
too,
offense.
so
Lamar got hurt for a while, but they threw the ball a lot more than they used to. But if you look at the offense 2 years ago, Dobbins had a great finish of the season at the end of his rookie year. They want to get back to running the ball. That's what they're going to do best. Dobbins might be the number one running back on the offense that runs the ball the most, and I think there's definitely value there.
And what about A.J. Dillon? I know you're high on him, Eliseo.
I actually have him just one spot above J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's 28 for me.
I have Dillon at 21 also. I really like him. Again, with big upside there. We talked about this on several of these podcasts before. Him and Jones, just both going to be high quality backs. A couple I want to circle back on. You had Elijah Mitchell at 18, David Montgomery at 17, Josh Jacobs at 20. You want to kind of talk through any of those guys?
Yeah. So Montgomery, he's consistent. Every year he's going to give you a consistent base. He's going to give you those points. But I don't love the offense there, and I think he's going to do okay, but he has a ceiling. Elijah Mitchell, the ceiling's way higher. I mean, he can do a lot, but who knows in that 49ers offense who it's going to be. You never know. It could be somebody one day and somebody else the next week. So that's kind of baked into those rankings. But I do love Elijah Mitchell if he's on the field. And Josh Jacobs, that's another one where that's a crazy backfield. They have a lot of running backs there, but they're coming from New England, and they have a good running game if it's Josh Jacobs.
I'm curious, Brandon, where you have Montgomery, because I'm really down on him this year. You have him at, where did you say, Jesse?
He's at
17 for Jesse. I have him at 24.
I have him at 25.
Yeah. Montgomery and Jacobs kind of fall into the same bucket for me. I don't like. They have new coaching staffs who haven't drafted these guys, so I don't think they're as committed to them as the previous regime was. Again, I do like Montgomery, but again, how often are they going to be running the ball when they're losing games? He's a decent pass catcher, but we saw some good work out of Khalil Herbert last year, so I think he might start eating in some of those carries. Yeah, and Jacobs, as you mentioned, coming from New England, they've always been kind of a cluster in trying to figure out which running back you want to play. They do run the ball well, but then you had the guys like James White who were catching a ton of passes out of the backfield. So it's just hard to kind of know what to get. And yeah, I keep going back to this Hall of Fame game and him playing, and it's just so weird to me that he played in the first game of the preseason, especially in that game where they have an extra preseason game. So yeah, I'm kind of down on those guys. That's a zone that I just hate just about everybody within that kind of tier.
I'm down, not necessarily down on Mitchell. I just feel like that's an appropriate place for him. I don't necessarily think it's any lower than I would be any other year, but Mitchell, I have it at 23. I know Jesse has him higher, but what about you?
Yeah, 22 for me. Again, already dealing with a hamstring injury. Missed a couple games last year. San Francisco, weird running back situation. They keep drafting guys, and you just never know who's going to kind of get the bulk of the carries. But he did prove a lot last year, and he was a valuable player when he was playing.
Well, there you go. Those are our top running backs for you. Let's move on to wide receivers. Brandon?
Yeah, so I think wide receiver, there's a clear top three. I have Justin Jefferson at 1, Cooper Kupp at 2, Jamar Chase at 3. Any arguments with those three guys? Maybe a different order, but I think those are the clear top 3.
Same order for me.
I have something completely different.
Okay, we'll come back to you. And then I go into my next tier where I have Devontae Adams at 4, Stephon Diggs at 5, CeeDee Lamb at 6, Debo at 7, Mike Evans 8, Tyreek Hill at 9, and A.J. Brown I have at 10. So that's kind of my second tier of guys. And then I roll into 11 through 14 is my third tier. I have T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, and DJ Moore. And then rounding out the top 20, starting with 15, I have Cortland Sutton, who I'm a little higher on than probably most. Terry McLaurin at 16, Mike Williams at 17, Chris Godwin 18, Allen Robinson at 19, and I have Gabriel Davis at 20. Pick it apart.
All right. Well, I mean, the top 8 or so are pretty much the same. I have Debo and CD flipped. Then you said Mike Evans was number 8?
I have Evans at 8, yeah.
Yeah, me too. So those are all the same for me. Tier 2, I mean, when you get into 9, that's when it starts getting different. I have Pittman, Keenan Allen. I had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams actually back-to-back. And that's, the touchdown upside for Mike Williams and the just passing volume for Keenan Allen right there. Tyreek is a little bit lower for me, but he has potential. T. Higgins, DJ Moore. It's all the same area, just different position.
Yeah, I think part of it for me, the Mike Williams, I think I'm just down on him a little bit. Traded for him last year. He was a wide receiver 1, and then he was just so inconsistent after that. So I think there's definitely some probably personal bias against that from last year.
Yeah.
But certainly like the offense with Herbert. I think both he and Keenan Allen are going to exceed.
And Tyreek Hill's the same way. I had him, and he's very inconsistent too. He'll give you the boom games and the bust games. Hopefully in this offense, that won't happen as much.
I mean, hopefully.
Well, I mean, his speed opens it up for
I
other
thought you
people,
said,
so.
hopefully he won't.
He won't have the boom and bust.
Right, I
And
thought it
it'll
was
be
the
more
other one.
consistent. But that's what you get when you get one of those boom and bust players.
Well, alrighty. Let me tell you about my.
Let me pick it
Let me
apart.
tell you about
Very excited to hear that.
The rankings, guys. Don't forget the rankings. And this is going to be a huge surprise for everybody. My number 1 is Debo Samuel.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, he would have been the number 1 last year if it wasn't for Cooper Kupp's 360-point crazy season. So I get that, but there's probably going to be regression there. I don't think he can do the same thing he did last season.
Oh, it's going to be the same as Cooper Kupp. Are you talking about Cooper Kupp or Debo Samuel?
I think Debo,
Both.
yeah, and I think moving as bad as Garoppolo was, he was still a much better passer than Trey Lance. I think you're losing some of the receiving upside, and maybe, again, he got a lot of points out as a running back, but is that going to
I feel like
happen
aside
again?
from the running back, there's going to be a lot of designed plays for him out of the backfield. Not only that, but just also a lot of like just dump offs,
The
is
thing
what,
was,
what I see happening.
there were so many running backs that were hurt last season, and Trey Lance is probably going to run also. So, you have to worry about that. Don't get me wrong, I think he's going to be great, but I don't know if he's going to be wide receiver 1. The potential is there, though. I get it. It's in
The rankings.
It could happen.
So then I got Cooper Kupp at number 2, Stephon Diggs at number 3. I think Stephon Diggs, I think missed a couple of games last season, and then a couple of games where they didn't even look his way. I think Gabriel Davis was getting a lot of looks too, but I think this year is he's gonna step it up. That offense is gonna go crazy this year, I think, and I think that's gonna bring him up, and so he's in my top 5. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson right after. You guys had those guys up there, number 1, number 2, number 3-ish kind of, and then after that Devontae Adams and Mike Evans. Those are my tier 1 guys.
Okay, so just CeeDee Lamb, no CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is right after that.
Okay,
Number 8.
Yeah, so
same top 8,
yeah.
different order.
And then and then number 9 you had Tyreek Hill.
I do have Tyreek.
Same thing. I got the same thing. Yeah.
So who do you have on there that may be different than other people? Let me see here. I have what is this?
Yeah, let's talk
6.
11 through 20. Anybody that you guys have on there that we haven't mentioned?
So I have Allen Robinson. Did you mention Allen Robinson?
I have Robinson at 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I have Waddle at 24.
Okay.
Again, I think he was really good last year. 104 catches, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. But again, they've added Tyreek, so there's another guy doing similar things.
Yeah.
And I'm not too confident in what Tua can do for them.
He's 18, but you're right with Tyreek there. Who knows how that offense is going to look? I think that offense is either going to be really great or it's going to implode.
I think, you might see a lot of you talked about dump off passes. I think that's what you're going to see a lot in Miami to both sides, right? You got Tyreek on one side, Waddle on the other. Just outstanding speed, tough to prepare for defensively. So, I think you could certainly see those guys both having some kind of game-breaking plays.
And my 20, Marquise Brown. So that could be interesting.
I have him at 22, so I really like him as well, especially the first 6 weeks without DeAndre Hopkins.
Another interesting one that I have at my number 24. That's going to surprise you guys again. Juju Smith-Schuster.
I actually have him higher than that. He's my 19.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I have him at 37.
Yeah, I knew. Most people
Yeah.
have him really low. I'm really high on him this year. I think he could do really well.
I mean, I think you're going to pass to Travis Kelce, but he can't be the only one. I think Juju's going to be the guy who's going to get benefit from that
And he's going to
offense.
be the slot guy. So it's like the touchdowns are going to go to either him or Kelsey. And if they split them, then that's a lot of gold right there.
Yeah, I think I'm too low on him. 37 is super low. I think you guys might be too high. Maybe somewhere in the middle is where I'd be comfortable drafting him. But again, he might be a guy that someone else likes a lot more than I do, so he probably won't end up on many of my teams.
Well, that's what I liked about like the mock drafts that I've done and like other stuff is like I seem to be in a position where it's kind of around like close enough that I can draft him in a good spot and not have to reach, because even though I do like him, I don't want to reach a couple of rounds just to have him, so it's just been kind of like not necessarily planned out for this show, but sometimes like on the drafts that I'm doing to actually play, I kind of plan out my spot if when possible and try to get around. There's different spots, but there's a couple people that have lined up where it's like if I draft in this spot, and then there's like those lower guys that I can kind of steal.
You know they're going to be going around those
Yeah.
spots. What about rookie Drake London? I have him at 22.
You are so
You're
high.
so
I think
high.
you've
I
mentioned
know,
him on
yeah.
every podcast.
Yeah,
we've
I'm
done.
super high on Drake London.
I have him at 34. Again, just kind of a sketchy passing game. I'm a little worried about it, but there's just guys that I like a little bit more than him. But I do think he has big upside.
And that's why I have him so high. I mean, Darnell Mooney is right below him, who's probably going to do better than him. But I mean, I think Drake London has a huge upside, and that's what I'm looking for in those deeper receivers after you have your starters. I mean, you might as well go for the boom or bust guys that'll win you weeks or your league.
I think I could see myself getting as high as I look at my list. I could get him as high as 30, but I don't know that there's guys ahead of him that I could put behind him. I think I just like those other guys too much. But again, I think that's what you're talking about. Where you're taking him is kind of like personal preference, and you're just taking guys that you think will have big upside. All the guys in that tier are kind of the same. It just kind of comes down to which one you like the best.
Yeah, I could move him up to, oh man, yeah, somewhere in like the 30s, because it's not really. I'm not excited about him at all.
All right, and those are our wide receivers. Let's move on to tight ends. Eliseo is going to kick it off with his list, which I'm sure is going to be
Pretty easy and pretty on
Darren
par
Waller,
with-
and then who else?
So I got Mark Andrews as the top tight end this year for obvious reasons. He did really well last year, and he's going to be the number one guy that the Ravens have to throw anything to when they do throw it. And like Brandon was saying, they threw a lot more last year than they intended to. And so any other receiver, they lost one of them, first of all. And then anytime they do throw, they're going to go to like old reliable, So I think he's going to be number one overall. Then you can't forget about Travis Kelce. Again, another team that lost some good targets. And so he shouldn't lose any of his and maybe add a couple more on top of that. And then after that is Waller the Baller. There you go. He's at number 3. I think he's going to have a good year. He's not going to get as much attention because now they have Devontae Adams to worry about on that Raiders offense. So Darren Waller making a huge comeback if he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can. After that is kind of where I start kind of losing it. George Kittle, he's still in my top tier, but I don't really love George Kittle. And again, that offense, we don't know what's going to happen with Trey Lance and stuff. I don't love him. I don't have any confidence in him really. So not sure where that's going to happen. So it's Mark Andrews, Kelce, Waller, Kittle. Then after that we have this is a guy that I bumped up a lot. I don't know if you guys will agree or not, but I have a good reason. Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph is my number 5.
wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah. He's going to make a splash. There's no Gronk anymore. So, and Cameron Brate goes in once in a while, but I think unless they use him mostly block, but I mean, again, another place that there's going to be a lot of targets to go around. I think he's going to be one of those guys that nobody's expecting. So a lot of like waiver wire pickups for Kyle Rudolph this year.
Okay.
After that, Jesse's favorite, Dalton Schultz.
I do like Dalton Schultz.
And I have him and Dawson Knox right after each other. Dawson Knox did really well last year, and I think again that offense is just really powerful, and he has potential to be even higher. But there's a lot of other players there that can score, including Josh Allen, just running it. So I got to keep him there. Other than that, I think I also moved up Robert Tonyan up a little bit because, again, there's not a lot of people left in Green Bay to catch passes. And Tonyan was doing a good job, so I have him there, followed by Dallas Goedert and then Kyle Pitts. And
All
that's
right.
the top 10.
Kyle Pitts in the 10 spot. Wow. That's interesting.
Well,
yeah.
I just don't. I know a lot of people have him in the top 3 or 4.
So
you know.
Kyle Pitts, not the best Kyle at the tight end position.
Not
is
the
what you're
best.
telling us.
You know what? It goes down to the quarterback.
Honestly.
Honestly, it goes down to the quarterback, and there's a lot of like new moving parts in Atlanta. And he's definitely probably the best receiver on that team. But I just don't know what's going on over there, and I don't see them scoring a whole lot this year.
You know, I'm not as high on Kyle. I mean, Kyle Pitts is in my number 4, so I mean high on him, but yeah, I mean,
You're not that high
no,
on
but
him.
people
he's
have him
number
at 1.
4.
Some people have him at 1.
Yeah,
because- and the thing is, they use him as a wide receiver, and that's why I think he's going to have that upside, and he's going to be probably a top 5 tight end at the end of the year. But
I don't know how much the Falcons are going to score, and now they have Mariota, who loves to run the ball.
yeah,
also,
I think it's going to come from yards for sure. But when they get into that red zone, who are they going to give the ball?
He's just going to run it in. What are you talking about?
So yeah, I don't even know where to start with this.
I know it's all over the place.
Andrews, Kelsey,
The
obviously the
rankings.
top 2.
Yes.
You could tell me either order. I'm fine
Yeah.
with both.
Yeah.
No problem there. I have Kyle Pitts at 3. 110 targets last year, 68 catches, 1,000 yards, 1 touchdown. Touchdowns are going to go up. There's no doubt in my mind. You have Kyle Rudolph. So I'm going to ask a couple questions. I want you to stop me when we get to a guy who's going to have less targets than Kyle Rudolph on the
Okay.
Bucks.
Okay.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage.
Wait.
Julio, that was it. Julio.
I don't know that Julio Jones is going to have more targets than Russell Gage.
Okay, but are they both going to have more targets than Kyle Rudolph or no?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, Leonard Fournette.
Probably equal.
Okay, so that's at least 3 guys.
Cameron
I'm gonna
Brate.
I'm gonna
I-
say
no,
there's like
not Cameron,
6
no.
guys that have more targets than Kyle. I'm shocked. Number 5. Why didn't you take him in our fantasy
sounds
draft?
sounds like a bet. Sounds like a bet. You wanna make a bet out of this?
Oh, here's side bet. I like
Absolutely.
it.
I'll
Side
bet
Let's do it.
anything.
That
so-
he's-
I bet
that
you
he's
Kyle Pitts is the best Kyle out of those 2.
No, I was gonna say like Kyle Rudolph gets more. He's like the number tied for the number 3 or the number 4 in targets at Tampa.
Okay. Here we go. So Kyle Rudolph is the number 3
Let's
targeted.
say 3.5 is the
3.5.
number. So you take
Okay.
above or
Over
no?
under, over
I'm
under,
sorry,
over
4.5. 4.5. I'll give you 4. So if he's the 4th highest target, you win. If he's 5 or below, I win.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll take that all day of the week. Okay,
All
back
right.
to me picking these apart. Waller at 3 is fine. Schultz again, I think 6 is pretty consistent where I have him. Everybody kind of has him around there.
I have him at 3, but
Yeah.
I love him this year.
Tunyon at 8. I have him at 23. I know what we saw a couple years ago was certainly him catching a lot of passes, but let me read you a stat line from last year: 18 catches, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He
Well,
was hurt.
you gotta-
He was hurt.
I have him at 12.
I don't like him whatsoever this year.
Here's the thing.
Devontae Adams is gone, and I mean
They have to go somewhere. But here's the thing.
Lazard has
This
brick
is
hands, like I've
conditional.
said before.
I have him at 12, and this is conditional. So if Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon get a lot of targets, and Alan Lazard turns out to be great, and some of these rookie receivers, and who else? Is Randall Cobb? Randall Cobb is still there, right? Then yeah, you may
Yeah,
not
but
see
his
that.
like
But-
Randall Cobb does like don't even count him.
But
How
there's
many targets did he
200
have?
something targets that have to go around
That's
somewhere.
that's
So-
why
Yeah.
Tunyon is the perfect guy to receive those.
Tunyon also coming off of a torn ACL, so I'm not sure. Not sure I love him. Again, there's other guys I'd rather take a flyer on than Tunyon. Only other 2 guys I had on my top 10 that you didn't list: T.J. Hawkinson and Zach Ertz. Again, I kind of old reliables at the position. I think I just like those guys.
Those were
to
my
be
next
consistent.
2 right after Pitts is
Yeah.
Hawkinson and Ertz.
Yeah,
Both
so-
in my top 10.
Yeah, I like those guys. And we've talked about Cole Kmet on this podcast before too. Kind of just like his upside as well.
He's actually in my top tight end. Top 10.
top tight number. Oh my
Oh.
God, Kyle Rudolph and Cole Kmet, the top 2 tight ends for these guys.
Top
my
10.
God.
He's in my top 10. He's number 8. Yeah. So there you have it.
I can't wait to
Where
win
do you
that
have
bet.
Brandon?
I
Where do you
can't
have
wait.
Waller?
I have Waller at 5.
Okay, I have him at 4. What'd you say?
3.
3. Okay. Yeah. We're
Yeah,
close.
that's
We're
fine.
close. That's
I think
good.
the top 6 is fine, except
Yeah.
for Eliseo doesn't have Pitts in there.
So everybody go get Kyle Rudolph. That's the point of this.
I'm just saying, man. If you do, you're not gonna regret it. Especially because you could take him like dead last. Nobody's gonna go after him.
I'm
This
not
is
even
like
sure he's the best tight end on his own team,
I have
right?
Kevin Braid above him. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're both way down there. Cameron Braid is right above Kyle Rudolph, and they're I don't even know, is 18, like 20 and 21 or something like that. And that's probably too high.
I think Cameron Braid's gonna keep his spot. And like Rudolph will step into like the Gronk, and obviously he's no Gronk, and he's not gonna be. But like, I think he's gonna do better than Braid.
All right. Well, let's do a little bit of this.
That was legitness.
I don't know if that was legitness, but
It was. These are the rankings. These are the rankings.
all right. Let's move into some week 1 matchups, shall we?
Yes, please. Anything to stop talking about Kyle Rudolph.
All right. We're gonna talk about.
I'd rather draft Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun bet, man. I can't wait.
I can't wait to see
Immediately, like the first couple of weeks, he's already gonna be losing. It's gonna be awesome.
All right. So, well, I mean, there are a lot of injured people on Tampa Bay, so maybe the first couple weeks, but probably not. All right, Thursday night game. I know we're gonna start with the Sunday games. So this is. Let's start with an afternoon game here. We have the Packers at the Vikings, and the Packers are favored by 2. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup. Truth be told, if I had to pick a division winner in the NFC North, I'm taking the Vikings, and I think
Same.
it starts week 1. I'll take them, and getting the 2 points. I think they're ready to take that next step up. They've always been kind of a 500 team or so. I think the Packers take a step back. I think the Vikings take a step forward. I have them winning this game outright, but I'll take the free 2 points.
All right. I think I think the Packers are gonna win. I mean,
Well, all right.
that's I don't know what else.
I'll say
I agree with Brandon. You are gonna lose, Jesse.
Okay, no side bet there. Let's move on to the Chiefs at the Cardinals. Chiefs by 3.
Yeah, I'll take Chiefs by 3 all day on that matchup. Yeah.
It's interesting. The Cardinals have a decent team. I think they kind of imploded last year. They started 7-0. There's no DeAndre Hopkins, but you still got Kyler Murray. You still got all the main pieces there. The Chiefs they don't have Tyreek Hill, so that could look a little different. And as I said,
This is probably going to be a high scoring game. It has all the makings of a high scoring game. So, but in a game like that, I'll give it to Mahomes.
yeah, I mean, I'm not as high on Mahomes, but Mahomes is Mahomes, and he's gonna do Mahomes things, and I think the Chiefs are probably gonna take this one by more than 3.
Yeah, I'm very down on the Cardinals this year. It wouldn't shock me if they finish with like 5 or 6 wins. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the Chiefs in this one.
Let's move on to morning game here. We have you guys are gonna love this. The Browns at the Panthers.
This is the revenge game, so I am guilty of throwing this one on the slate.
The
This
Browns
week.
are favored by 1, by the way.
Browns favored by 1 at the Panthers. This is the Baker Mayfield revenge game. Obviously, he got traded from the Browns, and sure enough, they're playing them at home week 1. God, this is an ugly game. No Deshaun Watson, obviously. He'll be suspended for this one. Browns certainly more talented, but God, you're playing Jacoby Brissett.
Well, they're just going to run the ball. That's all
They
they're going to do.
are.
They're going to run the ball.
the
But so are the Panthers. If McCaffrey's healthy, they're just
Oh,
going to
yeah.
McCaffrey might be healthy for this one. Might be one of the few games all year. I'm going to take the home team just because of karma, and Deshaun Watson and the Browns deserve 0 karma. So I'm going to take the Panthers.
I also think the Panthers are going to win. I think that they're going to win by a lot, not by 1 point or anywhere close to that. I think that McCaffrey's healthy. You have DJ Moore there, and
I don't know if by a lot,
I mean,
but they're gonna
you know,
win.
I mean, I'm talking by a touchdown or something.
So you're taking the
you know.
Panthers also?
Yeah, I'm taking
So
the Panthers
all three of us
also,
on the
yeah.
Panthers. Okay.
Yeah, Browns have a better team overall, but yeah, like you said, I mean, Jacoby Brissett. Hey, who knows? Maybe
I mean,
he'll
they're a
come out
running team, so they can still run it all over like
Exactly.
the Panthers, no
Yeah.
problem. You
Yeah.
know, so it's gonna be close. I don't think it's gonna be like that much. I think it's gonna be a close enough game, but it's still like a pointless game.
I think Baker's gonna come out and say, you know what?
What?
I'm gonna whoop you. That's what he's gonna say. But it's Baker, so who knows if that's gonna happen. All right. What else?
The Monday Nighter.
Yes.
Another
Well,
revenge game.
are these the three we're doing? No.
No, this is
Okay.
the last one that
Yeah.
we're not doing.
So Broncos at the Seahawks.
So this is revenge game number 2.
Broncos by 4.5.
Broncos favored by 4.5.
Now
Russell
this-
Wilson.
This is gonna be a bloodbath.
Russell Wilson making the return trip
Broncos
to
country,
Seattle.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. So yeah, Wilson going back to Seattle, game 1. NFL love to schedule these types of matchups. Who's not watching kind of what happens here and kind of what the Seattle fans will do to Russell Wilson? You said by, what's the line? 5, 4.5?
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be great. Everyone's going to be watching, obviously, Monday Night Football.
Bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean,
Ever watch Game of Thrones? The Red Wedding. That's what's gonna happen on this Monday night.
Gonna be an orange, or not an orange wedding, I guess like a turquoise green wedding.
I feel like these odds, and these are all over. You know, this is Caesars Sportsbook, DraftKings, FanDuel. These are all the same odds or close to them. I think they're kind of being very cautious in Week 1 because I think Broncos have this one in the bag. But you know, Seahawks has a okay defense. I guess.
I agree. I would take the Broncos, but this is one of those things that like I could see something weird happening in week 1 where like everyone's survivor pick is the Broncos and they go to Seattle and somehow they lose and everyone's
Yeah.
kind of shocked by the NFL. Weird things happen, but yeah, if I had to bet this one, I would definitely take the Broncos by double figures.
All right, so these next 3 matchups are going to be the 3 for the week. We're doing this every week. We're going to bet on the over-under and see who has the better score at the end of the week and at the end of the season. So these next 3 matchups, we're going to take the over or the under. We'll start with the Thursday night game, kicking it off. Oh, this is going to be good. Bills at the Rams. The Bills by 2 points.
This is a
What do you
tough one. Yeah, so this is the defending Super Bowl champion Rams at home against the probably everyone's favorite to win the Super Bowl Buffalo Bills. Going to be a great matchup. Obviously, get some headlining quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. Gosh, I like. Is there a Super Bowl hangover here from the Rams? We're hearing all these things. I'm going to take the Rams at home, getting the 2 points.
Ooh, all right. Wait, no, it's Bills by 2.
Right, so
Oh, yeah,
Rams
got
plus
it, got it,
2.
got it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so Bills could win by 1, and then I would win that one.
All right.
This is tough, man. That Super Bowl hangover, but they are at home. This is a really, really tough pick. It's tough. I'm stumped here. I'm stumped because at first I was like, oh no, I'm gonna take the Bills because it's the obvious choice and they're obviously a lot more hungry for this win and all that stuff. But then the Rams at home to start off after they just won the Super Bowl, it's like if there wasn't gonna be, I mean, there's gonna be a Super Bowl hangover, but if there was like a second wind, this is it. You know what I mean? So it's like they could have a second wind before they get their hangover. Man, it's tough, but I don't. So tough.
Are you going to pick them to tie? Like, make a pick here.
Yeah. You got over under 2. Bills by 2.
Dude, I know it's
What do
so
you got?
close.
Yeah, I'll do mine. I'll
Do
get-
yours. Do yours. I'm so stressed out right now.
So, here's my thing. I mean, these people have known for a while that they're going to play each other, so they're going through all the tape of everything. I think Cooper Kupp was huge last year, and I think he
Bills.
still
I'm
will
going
be.
with Bills. I made it. Bills.
All right. Cooper Kupp was great last year, and he's still going to be great. And they have, Cam Akers back. But I think the Bills are a little bit harder to prepare for. And I think Josh Allen and them are hungry this year, and I think that they're gonna take it. So Bills by 2. All right, next up we got the Raiders at the Chargers. Chargers by 3.5, of course. No one ever picks the Raiders to win. Chargers are a great team, though, also. What do you guys think?
This is also a tough matchup because at the end of last year, I mean, they were about to tie. And then San Diego, LA, the LA Chargers called that timeout for absolutely no reason. Like they should have just let the clock run. The Raiders would have run out of time. Like they would have just tied and both gone to the playoffs, but we all know what happened. This is interesting. I know that San Diego is going to come out like really hard.
San Diego.
Yeah, I keep saying that. I keep saying the Chargers are going to come out and just go, crazy. But on the other side, this is where we're going to see how well the Raiders are going to do this year. This is a big test mostly for the Raiders. Everybody's expecting the Chargers to take this, like no problem. And I don't think that's going to be the case, especially now with the new weapon of Devontae Adams. It's going to be really interesting. But the Chargers also added that outside pressure, the outside pressure of the once Raider.
Khalil Mack.
Yes.
Khalil Mack, yes. And so that could be interesting also. That definitely puts a lot more pressure on any quarterback facing the Chargers, the LA Chargers. But another tough choice. I'm going to sadly, I'm going to have to go with San Diego on this one.
San Diego.
Oh, my God.
This is the guy that loves Kyle Rudolph, by the way.
Well, they shouldn't have moved cities. That's all I got to say.
That is true.
And
So Eliseo likes the Chargers by 3.5.
Yes, unfortunately, I really wish I didn't, but I do.
All right, so I love the Raiders. Raiders fan, of course. They're going to be great this year. Devontae Adams. Chargers are also going to be great. Yes, they shouldn't have, had a timeout there, and they're steaming.
It's like these two teams are like so close, like there's.
Yeah, this obviously this division is crazy. But look, I mean, as good as the Raiders are going to be, the Chargers are going to win this one at home. Unfortunately, and they're going to cover the 3.5 points. And also, Raiders got Chandler Jones as well. So, I mean, the defense, but the Chargers have, I think, a better defense overall, and that's kind of what's going to make the difference is they're going to be able to score at will on the Raiders. And the Raiders are going to be able to score on the Chargers, but not quite as much.
I'm shocked. Both the Raider fans going against their own team, taking the rival.
Dude, the one
LA
time that
Chargers.
I go against them, they're gonna like step up. And
So
run.
I think
Hope
again,
it
we
doesn't
saw
happen.
the game last year. I think this game plays out similarly. I think it's a field goal game either way. I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders to cover the 3.5 points.
I'm proud of you.
However,
Nice.
the Chargers are my pick to win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Wow, you heard
Whoa.
it first here. You
Hot
heard
take.
it first here.
Yeah, that is a spicy meatball.
Are they at where's the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know.
Good question. I'll look it up while we're doing the
because
next
last 2
game.
years the home team won. So,
Well, we know that it's not. It's not in San Diego.
I know where it is. It's in Arizona.
And
so
it's
I
not
think we're
in-
safe. I think we're safe.
Not in LA because it just happened, and it's not in San Diego because nobody goes there.
All right. Next matchup we have Bucks at Cowboys. Sunday Night Football. The Bucks at the Cowboys. Bucks are favored by 1.5.
Easy 1.5, man. Yeah. Bucks.
Yeah, of
Bucks
course.
all the way.
Of course,
Like,
you're with the Bucks. Tom Brady's going to throw for what, 5,000?
No, not just because of that. It's because the Cowboys always find a way to disappoint their fans. And this is going to be just 1 week of the many where they do that.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like that's the Raiders also, and the Chargers also, and a lot of teams.
But the Cowboys just love to do it.
Like the Bucks are a great team, obviously. Cowboys, I think, have potential to be better this year. Bucks have some injuries there. I mean, the spread,
But they have Kyle Rudolph.
of course, and he's going to score at least 4 touchdowns. So this is going to be great. I would like to take the Cowboys here because I think it's possible, but it's likely that the Bucks come out and get the job done, even in Dallas. So I'm going to go Bucks by 1.5.
All right. So the first 2 games, you two took the same teams, and I went opposite. This one, you've both taken the same team, and again, I'm going to go opposite.
All right.
I'm taking the Cowboys at home plus the 1.5 points. I'm going to be off to a 3-0 start. You guys going to be 3 games back after week 1. This is incredible.
You know
I
what's
love it.
ridiculous is that like, man, Jesse, why you copying my picks, man?
Hey,
And Jesse, the top 5 team in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, and you're already off of them.
I know.
At
I
home
know.
in week 1.
Top 5.
I
and you
didn't say
can't-
they're going to go undefeated.
Oh man.
Hey, hey.
If you want to be the best,
You
you got to
jumped
beat
in
the
and said
best.
the Bills before I could. So, hey, what do you want me to do? All right, those are our picks for the 3 matchups of the week, the over-unders. Yeah, that's who we think is going to win. So that's that. Let's move on to the final part of the podcast here. We're going to tell you our balls to the wall player.
We don't have the music. I'm missing the music.
Oh, my goodness, we don't have the music.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
I mean, we're going into week 1.
I can
where
press
it's-
buttons here, but I can't guarantee what's going to happen.
Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
All right, let's let's do a little bit of this.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
I agree. Kyle Rudolph is not a top 5 tight end.
I was gonna say the Dallas Cowboys are not a top 5 team. There's so many
That
things
was
already.
legitness.
Yeah, okay, that's all I got. All right, balls to the wall player. We'll have it next week. The drop. I don't know who the producer of this show is. Hey, if anybody wants to be a producer for free, just kidding. All right, who wants to start?
I'm going to jump in first because I'm going to tie into the last game we talked about, Bucks at Cowboys. All right, little history lesson here for you guys. So if you may remember last year, Bucks and Cowboys played the first game of the season, the Thursday night opener. Outstanding game. Both teams went crazy. Final score was 31-29 Bucks. However, the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott threw for over 400 yards. Both receivers, Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, over 100 yards. CeeDee Lamb 1 touchdown. Amari Cooper had 2. Amari Cooper's no longer with Dallas, as we've talked about several times. CeeDee Lamb's still there. Someone has to replace that Amari Cooper production. You're going to say, oh, Michael Gallup, but he's hurt. Exactly. So my balls to the wall player is the number 2 receiver for the Cowboys, Jalen Tolbert. Who is that, you say? Jalen Tolbert.
Who is that?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Exactly. So Jalen Tolbert, my balls to the wall pick for week 1. They're going to throw the ball all over Tampa Bay in a high-scoring game. And I have Jalen Tolbert doing exactly what CeeDee Lamb did last year as the number 2, since he's now bumping up as the number 1. So I have Jalen Tolbert, 7 catches, 104 yards, and 1 touchdown. Balls to the wall.
Woo! All
That is
right.
quite a call. I'm excited to see what happens there.
Sounds like a nice little sleeper pickup right there. Eliseo.
Mine is not as
Juicy?
controversial as that. Yeah, mine's not as spicy as that one. I'm gonna go a little bit. Still a surprise for many, But my balls to the wall for week 1 is gonna be quarterback Matt Ryan. He's like some people are like, oh yeah, he's gonna do better this year because he's on a better team. Some people think he's like, nah, it's pointless. Why do you do that? Yeah. A lot of people don't have a lot of controversy, I think, with Matt Ryan, and I think he's in a better situation than he was the last couple of years. He's in a better team, and the team it works both ways. He's a better quarterback for the team, and the team is better for him as a quarterback. It's just an upgrade all around, I think, and definitely an upgrade from Carson Wentz. So I think he's got a good team around him now. He's going to be more comfortable in the pocket, and he's going to show us that he still has gas left in the tank. So I think Matt Ryan, week 1, and he's playing against Texas, so big game. I think he's going to do. Let's see, 280 yards and 3 passing TDs.
All right, Matt Ryan. Brandon, I'm kind of with you. Not on the person, but the way you're thinking. So Devontae Adams is gone, right? And someone's got to take those targets. Someone's got to get those touchdowns. It could be Aaron Jones. It could be A.J. Dillon. Maybe it's Alan Lazard. But he's not my boss to the wall. My boss to the wall is the guy who's not going to finish a top 10 tight end, but he is going to have a great first week against the Minnesota Vikings. Robert Tonyan is going to have 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, we just talked about him earlier. He's going to have a great week 1.
This is the second time you've like pretty much just abandoned what you said earlier and like.
No,
just-
actually, I think I had him at number 12 or something. I mean, he won't be a top 10 tight end, but he's going to.
You might be number 1 after week 1 with those numbers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like the Cowboys are going to be the top 5, but they're losing week 1. Tunya's not going to be that great, but he's going to be balls to the wall week 1. Like
and
that's,
both could happen. Both
that
could
is
happen.
some crazy nonsense.
Well, those are our balls to the wall players. So pick them up and watch them go crazy, or just call us fools. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week after week 1. Yes, football. It's going to be great. Until then.
Don't be a fool. Stay in school. Another week, another disappointing show by Jesse. What is he thinking? I don't know.